Good evening, iRacing fans, and welcome to the iRacing Grand Prix series brought to you by Apex Racing TV. My name is Lee Thompson, and joining me in the commentary booth working the cameras as every week is Alex Simpson. Evening, Alex.
Yep, hello everybody. Good to be here. Just about made it by the skin of our teeth. Just finished the World Championship race, so got everything set up for this, but yeah, we're here.
Yeah, we are here at Watkins Glen. This is round one of Season 3 2015. It feels like just a moment ago that we had the fairly tense conclusion of figuring out who was going to get those last coveted pro spots for Season 4. But perhaps if we have a bit of a lull later on in the race, we'll confirm who those final positions were and who got those pro spots. But for now, we are about to be gridding up for this first race of the season, as I said, and on pole position is Cam Stark with a 1 minute 16.850, finishing just 0.02 of a second ahead of new Apex Racing Academy driver Martin van Luzenoord with a 0.852. So yeah, almost identical times there. That's crazy. Third position then is Diogo Oliveira. In fourth position is Vincenzo Amico, who was one of the focuses of last time out trying to get that pro spot. Alex McFarlane then in fifth with Kleber Toffoli in sixth. Daniel Berenson in seventh with Daniel Wensing in eighth. Gary Larson in ninth and Matthias Demetrio in 10th. Frank Ferry Jr. in 11th with Francisco Gutierrez in 12th. Michael Prudhomme in 13th with Diego Gil in 14th. Jos Nowak in 15th. Carlos Diegas in 16th. Bob Bryant in 17th. And not setting a time is Andreas Nilsson in 18th position. So 18 runners here for this first race of the season.
Yeah, awesome turnout actually. Split race. I mean, we know it's Watkins, and Watkins usually does have a little split. But considering no one's racing for pro, it's all out there for fun. Good to see actually.
Yeah, very much looking forward to getting this season started. The one big difference from last season for the viewers is the fact that they are now racing with dynamic weather. So the wind and the temperature, even the humidity, is all going to fluctuate a little bit during the race, especially the wind, I think, I gather, Alex.
Yeah, the wind is going to be the main thing. Track temperature might vary a little bit, but it's only going to be by about a degree or so. But yeah, the wind's certainly going to spice it up, and we'll see who's got probably the most balanced car come out on top. I think the guys literally have just a few minutes just to get used to the weather, which is in qualifying, and making the adjustments ready for the race. So yeah, the pressure's on them to know what they're doing really, really quickly now.
Yeah, it's going to be 35 laps for these guys. Yeah, dealing with those changing conditions. I'm looking at Cam Stark lining up on the inside against that pit wall in pole position with Martin van Luzenoord lined up alongside him in second. It's not a massively long run down to turn one, but it's we do see instance there as a funnel then from turn one down towards the S's. So fingers crossed they will get through cleanly. We've got just a couple of seconds left. And then I'm hearing the revs build already. There we go. So round one of Season 3 2015. Martin van Luzenoord does not move. Carnage behind. There's one have to swerve out the way. But Cam Stark for now leads into turn one.
Yeah, not sure what happened to Martin there. Missed a gear or something. And then, of course, as soon as he tries to engage it, he just gets that horrible grinding noise where it doesn't happen. So what a disastrous start. I mean, he's way down the order now, almost second from last after that, so had a shocker, but I think he's...
battle for second position. Alex is ahead down the back straight between Alex McFarlane and Vincenzo Amico, and Vincenzo just about manages to make that position as they go into the carousel. Alex still challenging hard.
Yeah, good to see Alex here as well. He's been around looking like he's trying to get a little bit more used to this FW31, and definitely picked up a little bit of pace for sure. And yeah, here he is now fighting with one of the Radical drivers.
Yeah, and still battling away even as they come towards the boot, but in the end Alex just settles back in for now. Let's have a quick look at the current standings then, after no doubt some shuffling as everyone had to take that avoiding action at the start. Cam Stark has got a nice healthy lead thanks to that of a good couple of seconds or so at least. Vincenzo then in second with Alex McFarlane in third. We've got Matthias Demetrio in fourth. He started in 10th position. Daniel Berenson in fifth with Daniel Wensing in sixth. Oh, someone's hit the wall. Gary Larson in 7th, Olivia in 8th, Josh Nowak in 9th, and Frank Ferry 10th. So that's our top 10 for now. Yeah, I didn't quite see who it was that hit that wall, sorry, the final turn, turn 11. I just saw a spark of debris as I flicked through, and I think perhaps they survived and managed to continue for another lap.
Yeah, likewise, didn't quite catch who it was. We're just on board with Alex McFarlane as he come around there, so... yeah, Alex losing a little bit of ground on Vincenzo now, but the man on the move, definitely Cam Stark. 2.3 seconds is his lead after the first 1.5 laps, so absolutely flying.
And another man on the move I think is going to be Daniel Berenson. He's looking to move forward up to 4th position, challenging Matis Demetrio as they head down into the boot, already about to complete lap 2. Feels like they've only just started. We've got a few of these F1 replica skins that I'm seeing out there today, and Daniel there is one of those in the Lotus Racing colours. Yeah,
it looks very nice actually, done it at the black and gold, always great, and good to see some people doing that. I was thinking about doing some sort of official F1 livery kind of series with this broadcast, but yeah, in the end I think it's just the time to get it all organised, but if the guys out there want to do it, then yeah, we'd love to.
And Alex McFarlane running very, very wide on the exit of turn 1. It's a tricky area of that exit of turn 1 where you normally would run completely over the exit curb and onto the concrete afterwards, but actually after that McFarlane got a great run through the S's. He's challenging again Vincenzo as they head into the carousel. Vincenzo's not really defending, is allowing Alex that inside line into carousel, but Vincenzo's then confident that he can just sweep across the front of him, and he holds on to that place for now. So yeah, it looked like it was Alex pushing really, really hard on the exit of turn 1, got a bit scrappy, but it got the momentum for him up to the carousel.
Good little battle going on between Josh and Frank here, 9th and 10th place. Those guys were very, very close as they were going through the carousel, just separated out a little bit. Martin van Loosenhoorn are recovering after that absolute shocker of a start. But,
yeah, not the way to begin your IGPS series, but he at least has locked in his pro license for season 4 when they all get upgraded. I think they're still waiting to be given their pro licenses. That will happen any week, I guess, and then they may have a sniff of getting into the WCS races in the meantime.
Yeah, I mean it's worth them doing it as well. I mean, just today I think we had 5 pro drivers in the World Championship, so everybody in there doing a great job as well. So you know, congratulations to our own Apex Racing UK driver Peter Berryman, first ever World Championship race, finished a very competitive 15th place, not bad going at all. I think he's pretty delighted with that.
Yeah, absolutely right as well, considering the names that you still see in that field that have been there for many, many years now. So Vincenzo's still being harassed by Alex McFarlane. He's not dropped off at all. I think he must have had that one scruffy lap and come back to him, but still I'm seeing Daniel Berenson really putting Matis Demetrio under a lot of pressure as they come through the toe turn 7, but gets a poor run on the exit. Now he's having to defend hard. Oh, very, very sharp change direction from Daniel Wensing there as he dives to the inside. Oh, contact between the two of them. And unfortunately there for Daniel, yeah, he ended up reversing into the wall, and surely that's going to be his race done. He must have had some significant damage to the rear wing, but Wensing continued on.
Yeah, it's just one of those tricky corners. You kind of you want to defend around the outside there, and you want to go for those sort of moves on the inside. The exit's so narrow there, and then the cars just sort of always run into each other, and it's exactly what happened there. Neither driver sort of committed to either get the move done or actually defend it, so they ended up plowing into each other. It looks like it seriously affected Daniel as well, or was it Diego who hit him? I can't remember now, one of the two. I think it was Diego, wasn't it? So yeah, Diego might have some damage now, so he's going to be falling back, I think.
Yeah, we'll see how that plays out over the next couple of laps, but for now it's Daniel Wensing that is ahead. I believe it was him that made the contact, but I may have got myself in a muddle. So a quick run through the standings again. For now we're at the end of lap 5. Cam Stark still comfortably leading. He's just got to keep a nice consistent race, not put too many feet wrong, and this should be looking pretty comfortable. Vincenzo Amico then is still holding on to second over Alex McFarlane. Fourth position then is Matthias Demetrio, under a lot more comfortable space on the track now after that collision between the cars behind. Daniel Wensing then is a car under pressure from Diego Oliveira as they come onto the start-finish line. Then we've got a recovering Martin van Luzenoord. He's moved himself up into 7th position now, so beginning to recover from the start. 8th position then we've got Gary Larson. 9th position is Josh Nowak, and rounding out the top 10 now is Frank Ferry Jr. in another F1 livery, a good old-fashioned Eddie Jordan skin.
The old Benson Hedges, great livery that was. I'm trying to think, is that wasn't the one with the shark at the front, was it, or was it?
Yeah, it looks like it, I think.
Yeah. Can't quite get a good camera angle of it. Unfortunately, I didn't quite get enough time to put the camera pack on for this circuit, so we've got we've got the standard cameras, as you can see there. Pretty pants, but yeah, hopefully next week we'll be back to Istvan's camera pack, which he does a great job with those. So
Oliveira made that position up into 5th position over Daniel Wensing, somewhere around the carousel, I believe.
I'm not seeing any damage on the front of that, so he actually got away with that quite a bit there, because that could have been fair amount of front wing damage. So he went in with Daniel there. So, but Daniel's managed to get himself back out on track, so might be all right. Last lap was pretty slow, but I'm guessing that's because of the pit. I'll have to wait and see what he's.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a wonky rear wing, but he's certainly lapping, and we'll see where he manages to end up by the end of the race. This year it's a long race here, 35 laps I think I said, didn't I? So it's going to take him a little while to get through it. They've got 1 minute 20 to sort of 1 minute 18 laps that they seem to be running.
Now just looking at Martin here, closing in on the back of Daniel. This might have managed to break our overlay as well. Just named just a little bit too long. So also broke our livery too. I had to really adjust that just to fit his name on the wing. So I'll have to do another little adjustment out there. But recovering well, Lee. 6th place was was down in 15th at one point after that start.
Yeah, he's working his way through very quickly. Alex McFarlane though looked like he had a poor last lap round. He was nearly 2 seconds slower that time than the cars around him, so he's dropped off the back of Vincenzo for now. It'll be interesting to see whether he's able just to swoop straight back up to him and resume that battle. But yeah, in the same shot as that 2nd position, Vincenzo is Van Luzenoord there. So yeah, he's storming through. What lap time does he put him in at the minute? 1 minute 18.4 lifetime round. He's about to make a position now on Daniel Wensing as they come over the start-finish line. Martin's going to dive to the inside, braking at the change of tarmac there. And quite rightly, Daniel Wensing doesn't put up too much of a fight. Van Luzenoord, though, very, very wide in the exit, just like I saw Alex McFarlane do earlier on. But he jumps across the grass, kept it all straight, and managed to continue on for now as they head towards the carousel.
Yeah, I like to call that the Atsi Kirchhoff line. We saw him do that many times in the World Championship and in the Pro Series, just trying to get every last little ounce of speed out of the car. And yeah, it looks like Martin there just following suit.
So Cam Stark is continuing to build that lead pretty comfortably at the minute. He was 0.6 of a second quicker last time round than Vincenzo, so really stamping his authority on the race, showing why he got that pro license at the end of last season. Alex McFarlane did manage to close again on that last lap, so after having that one poor lap he did close by half a second in the very next, so he is going to shoot straight back up to him, as I did wonder if it was going to be the case. Then Oliveira and Demetrio ran almost identical times last time by, whereas Van Luzenoord was 0.6 quicker, so this is going to be a 3-car battle for 4th position very, very quickly.
On board at the moment with Cam, he's out front, give him a little bit of airtime. Worth pointing out that he's obviously to congratulate him as well, moved up from the Apex Academy to the 14 once he got his pro license, so congratulations to him.
Here comes Alex Oliveira challenging on Demetrius, so Demetrius takes that inside line to the carousel. We'll see if Oliveira tries to sweep around the outside. He's trying to hang around that outside line, but he's too just wide, I think, on entry. Yeah, exactly. A bit more of the sort of the middle of the track there, I think, would have given him a better chance, but he kept it out the wall, continued on, and Van Luzenoord is there with him now, Alex.
Yeah, coming up very, very quickly, lapping slightly quicker than Stark out there at the moment as well. So got some serious pace, and I think these guys are gonna try and put up a little bit of a fight, but I'm not sure it's gonna do them any good. Oliveira and Van Loozenhout had plenty of battles last season, obviously when they were going for pros. So Oliveira will know what he's all about and try and defend the best he can.
Yeah, and I think he's going to have to defend into turn 1 as Van Loozenhout is lining him up now through the final corner, getting towards that start-finish line. Nice tidy exit from the two of them. Though of course Oliveira has got the toe of Demetrio in front, so that enabled him to keep going. They're all very, very wide on exit again. Looked like Oliveira was a bit worried as to where Demetrio was ending up, and they're all taking very different lines, almost 3 wide as they come through the S's. I think Oliveira is going to be hung out to dry just a little bit. Van Loozenhout's going to go down the middle, Alex, I think, towards the carousel. Hasn't quite got the drive over Demetrio as well, but Oliveira trying to hang around that outside. That's a better line that time. Didn't run so wide so early, and did very well to hang on to that position.
Yeah. Oh, as he gets very sideways going into the chute there, just about avoids any real moment there, and Martin's able to get on past. But all of a sudden, Oliveira makes another mistake, and you've got Daniel Wensing there closing in. Maybe he'll have a look into turn 8, just a little bit too far back.
Yeah, so that means that the next car up for Van Loozenhout is Demetrio. So this is going to be for 4th position, as we said, and I think that's just going to take a lap, and that is going to be done and dusted, you would imagine. Alex McFarlane not really closed any further. Sorry, I was just going to say, yeah, not really closed any further on Vincenzo since it was a couple of laps ago, so they're still a couple of seconds apart, still trying to challenge for that 2nd position.
Matthias there just let Martin go straight through, so he didn't want to fight. Probably saw no point, maybe just wants to try and stick in the draft and see if he can pull him along a bit.
Actually, that's not a bad call. With that little bit of a gap behind to Oliveira, that's maybe a good opportunity for Oliveira not to have his toe and to try and hang on to Loozenhout. But we'll see how that plays out. So now that little battle is going to have a little bit of a break for a moment, scrolling back through the rest of the field, it looks like everyone else is pretty well strung out. I'm seeing Daniel Berenson recovering from a spin at turn 9, so his poor race continues as he's about to get lapped by Cam Stark as they come towards the final corner. And in fact, Demetrio, that hasn't worked at all for him trying to hang on to the back of Van Loozenhout, because Oliveira already is right back on his gearbox again, so that only took Oliveira half a lap, if that, and he's going to be challenging as they head over the start-finish line.
Yeah, I've got that marker just to the right, just letting everybody go. It's going to slow down in turn 1, he is. Yes, he is. And so Diego should get a run this time. Will he be able to complete the overtake? He knows what he needs to do, just hold it just a little bit tighter on the inside.
Yeah, I think we'll see how this turns out to head to the carousel, but I think he just didn't quite plan that right through the S's. He wanted maybe just to have held back a little bit more on the exit of turn 1 to have followed through the S's, and he'd have had the toe then. And as I wondered, he had to pull out that toe much too early, like almost at the beginning of the S's, and it just meant it was a straight drag. But trying to go around the outside now of the chute.
Oh, he's done it.
And he does it. Demetrio has a big moment, look like on the exit. Wensing's going to get by him as well, and Demetrio loses a couple of spots.
Yeah, just was pinched tight there, wasn't he? Just wasn't expecting that at all from Diego, and he was perhaps a little worried he was going to run out wide there. It's the natural line, and in the end, just gets a little out of shape and loses not 1 but 2 places. McFarlane closing back in on Vincenzo ahead though. Those guys pretty equal on lap time, just 19.0. I wonder actually, Lee, obviously I can't look at the lap times and the consistency.
Spinning car in the middle of a track as the leaders come by. Oh, how did Alex McFarlane keep that out of the car and out of the wall? I have no idea.
Yeah.
Quite how Alex ended up on that part of the track, I'm not sure. It did look like the racing line was a fair chunk away, but heart in mouth moment there.
Yeah, survives, lost a little bit of time, but not much. Actually, looks like he's got a bit more straight line speed. No, he's not. That was the other way around, sorry. So yeah, lost half a second there with that, so he'll be a bit disappointed because he just closed that gap back down, and he's got to do it all again, and he's got Van Loosenholt closing in on very quickly as well.
What is it, Alex, about Watkins Glen, do you think, that makes it, well, one, so popular? We always see big grids here in any series at Watkins Glen, and what is it that makes the racing so good?
Yeah, I mean, it's with the Williams. I mean, you know just as well as I will, Lee. It's not the easiest car to get a run and overtake. There's a lot of tracks that are very sort of dirty air limited when we can actually get a move done. And Watkins certainly is a track that we can have a lot of great battles with. It's that long back straight S section done half make for some great overtaking into the carousel, and but yeah, there's also a lot of grip at Watkins, isn't there? And you know, it's just a great circuit to drive because you can just push it on the ragged edge all the time.
Yeah, it's a very strange quirk. I mean, it's fluctuated slightly over the years as to how much dramatically more grip there is being here compared to other circuits, but it has continued to be the case. I wonder if that is a
Loosenholt up to third, sorry.
Yeah, much closer now between Van Loosenholt and McFarlane, yes, as he made that move, and Vincenzo is going to be next on target. But yeah, grip has always been a lot more here to varying degrees, and you wonder whether that's just an error in making a track that iRacing have never bothered correct, or whether actually they feel that is representative, and that Watkins is, I'm not sure if in real life Watkins is renowned to having a particularly grippy surface. I don't know, but it's as I say, certainly makes it more appealing maybe for people to come and jump in a different car and know that they'll be able to get around. Van Loosenholt is right on the back of Vincenzo already. I think Vincenzo's had a bit of a bad lap.
Yeah, it definitely seems to be struggling out there all of a sudden. I don't see anything go off, but he's having to defend Loosenholt around the outside. In turn one, is he going to make that happen? Has to go extremely wide.
Ooh, Vincenzo spins. Is he going to keep it out of the wall? He does. So good job from Vincenzo there just to drag the car to a complete stop, but he got loose on the exit going over that curb. Very easy done. I know I've done that many times myself. And Martin Van Loosenholt moves up into second position after being, what, 15th was it, on lap 2, something like that? And Alex McFarlane now has moved up into third position, Oliveira in fourth, and that puts Vincenzo down into fifth position for the moment, though with Daniel Wensing in fairly close company.
Watching the replay there of that's strange, isn't it? That he didn't actually go over the curb, Vincenzo there. And it's normally the curb that you have to be careful of. He was actually just always on the racing surface, but just that difference in line that he was forced to take just got him all out of shape, and yeah, he finds himself in sixth place.
Yeah, maybe just from that tight line he had more steering lock on, maybe didn't adapt to the amount of throttle he needed to apply straight away. Who knows? Cam Stark begins lap 16 with a 1 minute 18.285, half a second quicker than he managed for the lap before, in fact. Let's see how Martin is going to be doing. Obviously he had overtakes to be done in that lap, but he was just 3 tenths slower that time by, and then everybody's really getting strung out now. So Alex McFarlane then, as we said, in third, Oliveira in fourth, Wensing in fifth. Then we've got Demetrio in sixth, just coming through turn 1. Gary Larson move up into seventh, and then we have got scrolling. Eighth position is going to be Josh Nowak. I guess something's changed there in the timing, but yeah, eighth position is going to be Josh Nowak, I think. Frank Ferry then in ninth, and that will put Michael Prudhomme, I believe, in 10th position. So perhaps somebody pitted in that lap.
Yeah, Vincenzo went in, so I don't know if he actually had some damage or something like that, because he really had slowed up a lot the previous lap as well. So pits in 7.8 seconds. No repairs gone on there or anything else like that, so just fresh set of boots and on his way.
Definitely didn't make contact with the wall or anybody else during the actual spin, so yeah, perhaps he just felt that was an opportunity just to make his pit stop and have a fresh run of a nice clear track, try and put some laps in. We'll see how that turns out later on.
Closest battle on track at the moment is between Josh Nowak there and Frank Ferry Jr. Just half a second to separate those two at the moment.
And of course that's another replica livery that I hadn't initially spotted for some reason. Josh Nowak in the Sauber colours. I kind of each time I see that Sauber, I'm not sure whether I like the kind of classic, almost lower formula livery style of it or not. But that's what he's running for now. And just behind him there, Frank Ferry has gone into the pits in his Jordan to make his one and only stop.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm not really sure whether that whether I like that Sauber. You know, even in the real life, when I look at it, I just like, yeah, I'm not sure. Think about it. Well, we're guessing the pit stop window is well and truly open. People choosing just to do the straightforward.
Oh, sorry, Alex. Diego Oliveira spins, exiting the toe, turn 7. He just touched the grass on exit. Again, easy place to do it. We've all done that many times practicing in the F1 car, I'm sure. And it just, you get that wheel on the grass on the outside, it spits you to the inside wall. He made contact, but I'm not seeing significant damage. So perhaps he got away with, he's got a slightly bent front wing. So pit stop in this lap
now.
And he'll be getting repairs.
Yeah, just pushed out wide there, didn't he? Just around he goes. Just didn't see the fact that he was pushing out wide, didn't react to that, and kept his foot in it. And
I mean, that corner really does. Yeah, and that corner really does suck you into doing that, doesn't it? Because it's cambered, you get on the throttle so early, and then just to tempt you that little bit more, there's a tiny little extra foot of width of tarmac that you get on the exit for some reason as well, and it really does suck you into taking that outside line.
Definitely a few pit stops going on around now as well. Josh is in. We've got someone just in front of them misses their box. Is that Diego? Yeah, Diego missed his box, so it goes from bad to worse for Diego today. He's been in the wars and doesn't quite get jumped, but he nearly did by Josh there. So he's way back. We'll have a new front nose on that. It looked like it was only the front wing that took the blow. I guess we'll see now, depending on how the car reacts down through the carousel and maybe into the chute.
So Cam Stark continues on for the minute. He has started lap 19 now. He has not come into the pits. 1 minute 18.3 last time by. Van Luzenoord was a 1 minute 17 last lap. 1 minute 18 that time by. So Van Luzenoord, how did he not put that in the wall on the exit of turn 1 there? Got completely out of shape, 45 degrees off course, and snaps back straight, and heart is in mouth, but he continued on. I was about to say,
on replay. Actually,
yeah, I think
just
you should.
Missed it. So.
Van Luzenoord, yeah, if he had got that clean getaway, I think Cam Stark, obviously he could be taking it easy, but I think Cam Stark would have had a tough race this time. Van Luzenoord is looking very quick.
Oh yeah, he reacted to that very quickly and managed to get it back. But yeah, that's that tricky curb. It can do that quite easily around there. You just get a little bit loose over that, and yeah, around she comes. But he must have felt that going really early as he snapped it back very quickly.
So yeah, none of the other lead cars have pitted either so far. So McFarlane's still going, Wenson's still going, Demetrio's still going. We did see, of course, Oliveira pit, but that was from necessity with his damaged rear wing. Gary Larson's still continuing on. He's up into 5th or 6th position now as well. And then from that car back, it looks like then pretty much everyone else of the lead cars is going to have pitted. And right on cue, I see Daniel Wensing dive into pit lane, as does Matthias Demetrio. So 4th and 5th position both in the pit lane.
Yeah, I think the sort of 2015 pretty common strategy I think we're going to see here with 35 lap race. It seems to make sense. Everybody wants to go a little bit longer in that first stint. Of course, there's less time in the pits if you do a longer one, plus you get the overcut with this car as well. So I think yeah, some of the leaders are obviously trying to extend that out, maybe a couple of more laps. We might see, say, 22 laps or something, just expecting their competition to do that 20 lap stint, or 21. Basically a game of chess really, isn't it? Who's going to who's going to make their move first with the pits, and eventually you just keep getting longer and longer through the season, and you're close to a no stopping it then.
Yeah, we've definitely seen that before, and again, sort of Pro Series springs to mind with I see a car in the wall there. Was that Alex McFarlane exiting? No, it was a lapped car. Michael Prudhomme, very, very wide on the exit of the final corner. Sure, he made contact with the wall, but he is continuing on for now. But as you say, you just push that fuel stint longer and longer, and then at some point somebody has a genius idea of going a bit more optimal, and they start blasting away, and everyone reverts back. It kind of goes through in cycles, it seems.
Daniel Wensing and Enzo having a little battle. Seems to have died down a little bit this lap. It looks like Enzo making his way back up. Obviously suffered the spin and was a little slow that lap, so I'm really not sure what the issue was there for the Radical driver, but seems to be lapping back reasonable pace again, so low 119 that time. Pretty much everybody in now. Alex McFarlane, he's been in as well, and he's on his way going down the back straight at the moment and towards the carousel here.
Yeah, and he's got a nice
7-second stop.
Nice clear track around him as well, so he's just got to focus on nailing those laps, and he should be looking at a very strong position. Yeah, podium should be well and truly on for Alex. His pit stop looked pretty uneventful from what we could see. Cam Stark continues on, not pitted yet, as does Martin van Luzenoord. 1 minute 18.1 for Martin, 1 minute 18.1 for Cam Stark. So they're a bit more even now than perhaps it seemed when Van Luzenoord was storming back through the field. How is the rest of it shaken out? Vincenzo is looking alright, so he is currently showing in 5th position. I think he's going to end up in 4th once my timing screen updates properly. He's leapfrogged Daniel Wensing and Matthias Demetrio despite his little error earlier on.
Yeah, it cost him a lot of time. I mean, it's 50 seconds behind the leader. Of course, they haven't pitted yet, so what's a pit stop round here usually at Watkins? About 30 seconds, 28 seconds, something like that?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, so it's going to be 20 seconds behind him, considering he had the spin and had to pit early as well. Still, actually not a bad run. Just goes to show that he had the pace and might well have been able to give Stark a bit of a run for his money at the end. We don't obviously know when, of course, Enzo is pitting. He might have gone really, really heavy, you see.
And interestingly, now that Josh Nowak and Frank Ferry completed their pit stops, they've come out in exactly the position that they were before, about second point 2 between those two cars. So we'll see whether Frank can continue to put a little bit more pressure on as they go through to the second half of the race.
Yeah, it's fair to say Frank is probably a tiny little bit faster than Josh, because normally you'd expect to get a sizable overcut, and of course what's happened is Frank's still just on the tail of Josh, and I would have thought maybe 2 or 3 laps longer Josh went, so I would have thought he'd have been maybe 4 seconds up the road at this point.
Van Luzenoord bangs in a very, very quick lap. He's pushing hard. Good. Perhaps this is his in lap now, maybe 17.5 last time, by 6/10 quicker than Cam Stark ahead. I see Martin pushing very, very hard. He was right out over the curb and onto the grass as they exited the carousel, but kept it straight and true. I have a feeling Cam Stark might be in this lap as well.
Jump up to Cam as he's about to approach the penultimate corner. Using all the curb there. Let's have a look, see if he's going to duck it in. Nope, continues on for one more.
Yeah, so it's a significant range between the first pit stops we've seen and the second one. So yeah, quite a range of laps. So although we haven't really seen it develop so much in this race, it does bode well maybe for the rest of the season, where if we've got close battles, then you can make a significant difference by the fuel load that you've chosen at the start of the race as to when you are going to pit. Van Luzenoord comes into his pit box, still hasn't come to a stop quite yet. Now he does. Hits his marks pretty cleanly, angles the car nicely to get a nice straight exit out of pit lane. He won't even need to hit the pit limiter because he's right at the line.
0.9 second stop, fastest we've seen so far. Next quickest was 7.6, so it just goes to show the amount of time you save by going that little bit longer. So, sort of 0.6 of a second there. So, Dark, of course, going to be even shorter in theory. And maybe makes a little sense as to why Van Loosenord was just closing in a little bit there as well. Very similar sort of pace, but ultimately got a little bit of a heavier car.
Yeah, and this field really has strung out a lot now with these different pit strategies and a couple of little incidents here and there. Cam Stark into pit lane, right on cue. So yeah, just one lap between those two cars it seems. Van Loosenord is just exiting the toe turn 7, coming up towards turn 8 for the boot. Alex McFarlane then next car back in 3rd, Vincenzo in 4th. Daniel Wensing is doing a good job of staying right on the heels of Vincenzo, so that's our closest battle at the minute, 4th and 5th. Matis Dimitro in 6th, Gary Larson 7th, Oliveira 8th, Josh Nowak 9th, and Frank Ferry just dropped back slightly now in 10th position.
Start just a little bit tentative on pit entry there, but does a 6.5 seconds, so another 4 tenths that he pulls out on Loosenord. So yeah, definitely advantage Stark, I think, after that one. This got a pretty reasonable gap. We've got what, 11 laps left, so doesn't have to push too hard, just needs to keep doing his thing out there, and I think should be fairly comfortable for well, I'll say for a good result. I don't want to curse.
Yeah, no, definitely looks like you just got to keep it on the grey stuff. It'd be interesting now to see any differences in pace between these two guys now that they are running the same fuel load, and neither of them are battling anyone else. They can lap at a pace that they choose, so we shall see. Yeah, still Daniel Wensing just a second and a half or so behind Vincenzo Amico. And now that we're in a little bit of a lull through the race, let's have a quick confirmation as to who ended up in those pro positions at the end of last season. I think we were pretty sure as to how it was going to turn out, but the tables hadn't updated when we finished our broadcast last time out, had it? So just to confirm then, yeah, so last season, season 2, drivers rather, that got their pro licenses or will get their pro licenses were Pablo Lopez. He was the top Class A driver. Kevin Siggy then finished in 2nd, with Van Loosenord, who we've been watching, then in 3rd. Petteri Kotavara then in 4th. Johnny Backman in 5th. Ricardo Torres was 6th. Diego Oliveira was in 7th. Balazaz was in 8th, with Cam Stark in 9th. Mac Backham in 10th. Frederick Everest in 11th. Tim Bertie in 12th. Alvaro Romero in 13th. Fabio Gonzalez in 14th. And Oscar Manglin in 15th. So unlucky for Vincenzo, he missed out then by 1 spot to that pro position. Oscar Mangan was the very last car.
Just while we're watching this battle for 9th place on the screen right now, a couple of Vincenzo still might get a drive. You never know. One of the World Championship drivers, if they decide not to participate in the Pro Series, which does happen from time to time, commitments, then he will get the nod, being the next driver just outside it, especially if he continues driving the car as well. So might still get a drive in the Pro Series, you never know. But worth pointing out that Mac Backham, 6 weeks counted, and 1,600 points, finds himself 10th place overall with just 6 weeks. That's very impressive.
That's going to be pretty scary for everyone working into that Pro Series next season. He's got to be a hot tip for a very, very high finishing results or championship results in season 4. So that is definitely a man to watch. Radical's online driver, I believe.
Yeah, when you look at these stats for the season as well, average start 2nd, average finish 1st. So yeah, he needed to do that with 6 weeks to get the points that he needed, and he absolutely nailed it. So yeah, awesome from him. Like you say, in the Pro Series, he's going to be very, very strong indeed.
So we're saying about lap times, and just out of a pure curiosity to keep us entertained, between Cam Stark and Martin Van Loosenord. Last time by, there was a huge difference between the two of them. We've got 12 hundredths of a second between those two cars last time round.
Yeah, it's a very, very even there. Yeah, it's a shame actually that Martin got bogged down at the start, because you have to say, without that, it would have been a very, very good race between these two, and of course now work together within Apex as well. So would have been interesting to see how that one all panned out.
And
no
they
team
both...
orders here instantly, so go at it, boys.
Oh, Van
Nice.
Luzenoord, not quite his planned line that time by, but they've both upped the pace in that last lap. So a 17.6 for Cam Stark, half a second quicker, and a 17.7 for Van Luzenoord. So they are both pushing hard still. Alex McFarlane having a lonely second half to the race, but I'm sure he'd be delighted to be all on his own and be almost guaranteed that third position is looking like. 1 minute 18.5 last time by. Vincenzo Amico is not dropping Daniel Wensing, but he's just made maybe another 10th or 2 since I last checked on him. Matches Demetrio still in 6th, Gary Larson in 7th. He's made up a good few spots, I think, from the beginning of the race. I think I saw him in 10th during the opening half, I believe. Diogo Oliveira trying to catch back up. He was a couple of tenths quicker than the cars ahead last time by. Josh Nowak then in 9th, and Frank Ferry has closed back up again in 10th, so he's well and truly in the slipstream of Josh there as they head down towards the carousel, and in fact Josh feels the need to defend. Here comes Frank. I don't think he's going to quite be close enough as they enter the carousel, but certainly this is our current battle to be watching on the screen.
Yeah, we haven't seen much of Gary Larson in this race while we watch this battle. He's kept himself out of trouble and finds himself in a pretty decent position, so well done to Gary. We only had a mere 7 seconds of airtime so far, but we'll stick with this battle because it's the closest thing we've got at the moment.
Yeah, and they are looking closer and closer still. Slightly different lines as they come through the second half of the track as Frank Ferry stays a little bit tighter on exit maybe, and I think it's going to be a little bit tough now for Josh because Frank is going to be well and truly in the slipstream, very, very close. They come through the final corner, both moving around quite a bit on my screen, whether that's a little bit of lag between the two of them, but I think Frank just needs to sit back in this sort of space now and then line him up through the S's, ready to get a good run on the carousel. But Frank has a pretty poor turn 1 and he's dropped way back.
Yeah, just he missed the apex there, didn't he, completely, and I think he just got out of it because he was a bit worried he was going to be a bit wide, and we've seen a couple of drivers get very loose on that if they just get so wide there, so thinks better of it and thinks, well, still got 6 laps to go, so I will I'll have a little run next lap maybe, but yes, like you say, lost 4 tenths of a second there?
Yeah, at least. And on that note of losing 4 tenths, my little hot lap competition that I'll keep an eye on between Cam Stark and Van Luzenoord. Van Luzenoord was 4 tenths quicker last time by.
Yeah, 17.8 versus 17.4. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to have a little word with one of these guys because, of course, this is the first race we've covered that, certainly in this series, that's had the dynamic weather. So, just want to see how it might have affected them, if there was any sort of real noticeable areas. I mean, we haven't seen anything in lap times. They've been ever so consistent.
No, and driving a GT3 car, of course, is extremely different to the crazy aero-sensitive F1 car, but GT3 series is running dynamic weather as well. And apart from the weather being very different session to session, I couldn't notice any change at all during the race. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether these guys feel something similar here as well.
Wensing closing back in on Enzo here, just 8 tenths of a second separate them. Enzo gets himself a little bit out of shape coming off of that's turn 6, is it? 7 even, and yeah, I believe they call it a toe corner, so I'm just trying to remember everything.
Yeah, turn 7 of the toe is the one, as yeah, Vincenzo comes up towards the final corner. You know, Wensing's doing a good job of staying right with him, but he's not quite been close enough to really take big advantage of that slipstream. It's just another tenth or two, and he's all of a sudden going to find himself closing right up on him down that back straight.
Yeah, both the front two at the front 18.0, so there's quite a bit of time difference from lap to lap there. So there obviously is, you know, certainly an impact with the weather, and that's the main thing. I think it's the wind when it changes. Certainly, if they get a headwind all of a sudden down this back straight, they can lose a lot of time there. So certainly going to play a big role with strategies and things like that throughout the season. You know, drivers perhaps going to go a little bit more conservative with their strategies, I think.
And yeah, I mean, this dynamic weather, of course, is spreading through many different series now in iRacing as they implement it throughout the service pretty much. WCS, Alex, are we expecting dynamic weather to feature in there?
Can't really announce anything because I'll get shot, but hell with it. Yeah, next race at Twin Ring Retegi will be the first one with dynamic weather as well. So, Shannon, please don't ban me.
And I'll put that all on you. I didn't set that up so you could have quite happily said you didn't know anything. I didn't. I didn't say, "Oh, Alex, I hear." Yeah. So yeah, I gave you the option out. So never mind. Cam Stark continues to lead by a comfortable margin over Martin van Loosenhoord. What's the gap between the two of them? 5.6 seconds last time by. Third place still then is Alex McFarlane. He's running at a pretty solid pace, just a second off the lead two last time by. Certainly quicker than the cars behind. So Vincenzo was a 19 flat last time by. Daniel Wensing lost exactly a tenth to Vincenzo, so Daniel Wensing has lost that opportunity to claw into the draft a bit more. Matic Dimitro still in 6th, Gary Larson just a couple of tenths slower that time by in 7th, Oliveira still a couple of tenths quicker than Gary Larson in 8th, and then still, Josh Nowick, Frank Ferry. This is where I'm going to be keeping an eye on almost identical lap times last time by, but it just seems that Frank manages to close that extra bit more on a particular lap, and then maybe, I can understand it, but maybe is more cautious once he gets on top of that car. It's very easy to feel like you're going to run into the back of the car ahead, and you've lost that advantage then you've been working on in the previous few laps.
Yeah, ebbs and flows a lot there. Picked up on the lead two, they've been sort of exchanging lap times, and it seems to be that they go faster and slower at the same time as well. So when it seems to be affect one, or when wind condition, it affects the others out there as well. But that last lap, 17.7 for Van Loosenhoord and Stark only with an 18.8, so 1.1 seconds difference. So that gap now is down to 4 seconds with just 3 laps to go.
And it's interesting as well, of course, with that dynamic weather where, I mean, not so much now that they are closer on track, but as the wind fluctuates through the lap, of course, Cam Stark could be unlucky and get a headwind all the way down the back straight, and by the time Van Loosenhoord gets up to speed, then perhaps it's changed. So, interesting, as you say, what the guys tell us about it. They're the ones that are experiencing it and can confirm one way or the other. Cam Stark looks to be pushing very, very hard, though still running very wide on the exit of turn 1. Van Loosenhoord's just going to get bottled up a little bit behind the back marker as they come through the S's. Just about sorts itself out. Lap times last time by, another 8 tenths, Alex, wasn't it?
Yeah, huge chunks at the moment. Stark doesn't need to push though. He's only got 2 laps left, and at that kind of time, he's still going to have plenty of time to take it easy going across the start-finish line. So just bringing it home, I'm sure, not risking anything out there, and sensible in a way.
Yeah, absolutely nothing to push for at all. But the thing to be careful of is you do need to keep a rhythm. If you try and back off too much and work it out and say, oh well, if I'm 8 tenths a lap slower each lap, then that'll still be fine. All of a sudden, you find yourselves not with the cornering speeds that you had, and not with the aerodynamic grip that maybe you had, and it's very easy to catch yourself out with a silly little mistake. But it's looking like Cam Stark has got it well under control. They are about to begin the final lap, isn't it? So lap 35, they're about to begin now. Back marker ahead, that Cam Stark is going to clear down the back straight, I would imagine. 17.9 for Cam that time by, 17.4 for Martin.
Yeah, Martin really pushing, trying to close the gap. So 3.1 seconds as they cross the line. So yeah, it's going to take something amazing to make this race result right now, I would think. Wensing closing back in on Enzo 0.7, but not close enough to make a move. We'll just stay with these two as they come around on the final lap. Even Frank Ferry as well has not been able to close in enough to get close on a run on Josh there. So seems like Watkins does make for some good racing, but a few drivers just struggling with the dirty air out there.
Yeah, I mean, it was a cracking first half to the race with a few incidents and a few overtakes and general close batting, and it's just got blown apart a little bit in the second half with differences in pit strategy and a couple of incidents taking people out of contention as well. But it's looked extremely comfortable for Cam Stark the whole way through the race. Here he comes around the final corner, about to shake the checkered flag. He had a 2-second gap after lap 1, and he finishes with 3.5 second gap to the car who was in 15th position, I believe, at the end of lap 1. So congratulations to Cam Stark, race win of the season that we've seen from him. Martin van Luzenoord then in second. Alex McFarlane still hasn't crossed the finish line. Here he comes now at the final corner. He's quite rightly delighted, it looks like, to get that podium position. As I said, although it was a quiet second half to the race for him, I'm sure that's exactly what he wanted. Vincenzo Amico is going to finish in 4th position. Daniel Wensing did manage to close back up on him to take that 5th position, but it wasn't quite enough. In fact, finished very close over the start-finish line. But yeah, Vincenzo in 4th, Wensing in 5th. Next car up is Matthias Demetrio. He finishes in 6th. Gary Larson does hold on to that 7th position over Diogo Oliveira, who was tending to close most laps. So yeah, that's 8th position for Oliveira. And then here comes our little battle that we have been keeping half an eye on the whole race. Josh Noack looks like, I was about to say, going to finish comfortably, and then he was way up on the grass on the entry to the final corner.
He's run out of fuel!
That will do it. That will be why he was trying to carry so much corner speed through that final corner. After all of that, Frank Ferry just sitting there patiently the whole way through. He snatches that 9th position from Josh Noack, who is going to want to put in that extra half litre of fuel next time, not cut it quite so fine.
Yeah, wow, look at that. And that is really how the weather can affect you as well, you know. Some headwinds in a few places just makes it a little bit more draggy. You know, if you're that close on the fuel figures and all of a sudden you just get the car just gets a little bit boggy with the wind. And it can have you like that. But he'll be gutted to have lost that, I think, on the line.
Oh, absolutely. But you're right. That's a very good point. It's not as precise anymore. As you've got to keep a lot more of a margin and allow for those differences. So so that was our top 10 positions, and by coincidence, those are the only cars on the lead lap. Those who are not were 11th down to 18th. So Andres Nilsson 11th, Francisco Gutierrez in 12th, Michael Prudhomme in 13th, Diego Gil in 14th, Carlos Dieguez in 15th, Daniel Berenson, who we see retire early on after all sorts of trouble, in 16th. Bob Bryant had more trouble in 17th, and Kleber Toffoli, I don't think we saw at all, finished in 18th position, both 34 laps down. So as I said, not one of the classics that we do see at Watkins Glen sometimes, but certainly an interesting start to the season. I can see a little bit of a battle developing throughout the season between maybe Cam Stark and Van Luzenoord if they continue to run this time slot each week, and see how these guys can adapt to these changing weather conditions.
Yeah, good first race. Nice to see a split happening as well. Let's hope we can make this race split every week. We'll continue to do the broadcast. Like I say, we'll probably do a standalone series within the iRacing official. I'll set up some sort of Dan Lisa point scoring, so we can just keep a track of this one specific race as well. So if you want to turn up week in, week out, get in the top split, then we'll get you into go into that race.
That sounds very good, and also don't forget, for those of you who maybe aren't expecting to get into the top split, well, rather for people who aren't driving this car thinking they wouldn't get into the top split, well, don't forget, if you're an F1 fan, this is a good season actually to play around in the F1 car. Nobody's going for pro licenses or anything. You haven't got to worry about getting in other people's way. There isn't ultimately that big actual challenge that they're working towards the end. Everyone should just be out there just to have fun. There's no real prize up for grabs. So if you're umming and ahhing about whether to jump in this car, then season 3, season 4 are certainly the time to do it. And come and get involved. So this is our weekly broadcast that we'll do at the same time. So each time, if you get into the top split, you will be here. But there's lots of fun in those second splits as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks, Lee. It's been a pleasure, been a blast. A very exciting race at the start. Luzenoord couldn't quite close in at the end, and But congratulations, Stark takes the honours of the first split race of the season. And I'm sure that'll move him top of the standings overall. We'll be back next week and
at Suzuka Grand Prix circuit, 31 laps.
I'm glad you're organised.
Only by about 2 seconds, yeah. But yeah.
Excellent. Well, thanks very much, guys. If you like the video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, share it on YouTube and Twitter, and Facebook and Twitter and all that goodness for us. We'll be doing these each week, so come back, watch next week's race, same time, same place. Thanks for then.
Cheerio.